Hey all, so this is War 5 from last Saturday. One downside of being in the CCP is that my war videos may be a little bit less regular than they used to be, but I am going to try and keep putting them all out. So, as you can see, this is a pretty fun team. These are three of my current favorites, including two rank 4s. We start off against this Black Panther Civil War, and this is going to be a very simple fight. Basically, what we have to remember is that once he can gain armor ups again, once that reflective state is done with, we can't heavy him safely anymore. Because it's a low chance at low SIG, and most people's Black Panther Civil Wars are low SIG at the moment. But he can go unstoppable and hit you in the middle of that, and it's just really not worth risking. So we landed an early heavy and accidentally blocked that. Thankfully, we had our physical resistance up, so it didn't hurt too much. But we had that early heavy to get a few Furies, and those were basically just to tide us over until we got to the Special 3, because that's going to give us these 3 Cosmic Charges, which are effectively almost permanent Furies, and that's more than enough. Less than a minute. I'm just so happy with my rank 4 hype. Completely worth it. So moving on to Hitmonkey here. I actually forgot if I used Hyper Hulkling. I think I'm using Hype here purely to save health on Hulkling because he has an important fight later. I don't expect Hype to have any trouble, but, you know, it's Hitmonkey. Having the rank 4 is likely to come in handy if I mess up even once. He's just very annoying. But anyway, basic goal here is to try and do exactly what we did right there. Knock him down, and then wait until we get basically right at the very end of that Fury from Ebb and Flow Knockdown, and land a big special while we have the Fury up. But while his senses are down. That's kind of the needle we have to thread. But you can see that it was obviously worth it, because that first Special 3 without any Cosmic Charges, or I don't think we had any Furies left at all either, still took off like nearly half his health. So I didn't bother punishing that because he has his evade charge, but we have the passive Fury to go with our others, so yeah, throw the Special 3 there, it's going to do plenty. We're going to try and bait out this last Special 1, and we basically just need to hit him probably once. Yep, that's plenty. Hard to stop Hype. On to Mysterio. I've taken this before. It was absolute cake with Defiance, but I actually think that Reed is the best one for Mysterio in particular on Power Snack with almost any meta. And as I've mentioned before, that's because unlike other power control options, unlike other nullify immune or buff immune characters, Reed in particular affects combat power rate. And the reason Mysterio is dangerous is because he's going to eventually throw specials, and then those specials require you to idle or dance or otherwise have counters so that you don't end up, taking damage back from the Special 1, missing into the Special 2, etc. And that makes the fight worse. So having the suppression from Reed and comboing that with the Petrify Mastery to reduce combat power rate even further means that we can do something like that and completely unboosted get to our Special 2 before he even throws his first Special 1. Which also allows us to dex and bait more effectively because here we go, he throws the Special 1. Now unfortunately, him being a little tricky with that baiting means that we are going to have to throw this heavy, knowing it's going to be reflected, and of course it crit. Why wouldn't it crit? Crits are good, right? Except when they get reflected on you. Oh well, it happens. Fully expected this. This happens basically once every fight against Mysterio here, but I'm used to it, I expect it, I have practiced it, and so then it's just a matter of waiting it out. Definitely did not mean to get hit in the face right there, but as you can see, we are now fully ramped. We have taken almost no damage other than that one reflected heavy, and he hasn't even thrown his third special. That is why Reed is so good here, because somebody else who just counters Power Stack would not have been able to get through that fight quite so quickly. Unless you're going the full nuke strategy, of course. But anyone else intended to actually counter the fight would have given Mysterio more than just barely 3 bars of power. So here we have Hulkling again against a rank 4 Nick Fury on EMP Modification. I decided not to use the power backs this time because the fight went so well last time, but that does mean that I'm going to have to worry a little bit more about keeping my shape-shifting charges up and turning them into buffs, because that's going to be my primary way of gaining power. You'll see pretty shortly I throw a special 1. That is why, because that's going to basically make sure that I stay topped up on ammo for the shapeshift transformation and make sure that I have enough of those charges to get enough buffs. Now, right here, yeah, it's not there, but I think I back off and then I try to go in, hit his block. What did I do? No, it's not there. There. I don't know why I tried to backdraft there, but it's not often that I'm reminded of the other clause on EMP Modification, but man, that was a good illustration of it. For those of you who are confused as to why I took that much damage, it was not just Nick Fury, it's because those 10 charges from EMP Modification give Nick extra energy damage on every hit. And so when I ate a 3-hit combo, it really, really hurt. Hulkling is immune to shock, Hulkling is immune to power drain, Hulkling gets around the reduced combat power rate. He is immune to basically every part of this node except that one that almost killed me. So that's fun. And also his regens don't regenerate that energy damage, which is why we're so low now. Definitely not ideal, especially with me messing up the special 1 evade there. I think I was probably starting to worry at this point. But the good news is he is in his second life. We've done a good amount of damage. We have enough shapeshift charges that we can hit into him here. I have to dance a little bit, but we are unblockable. And even though I don't get the second Fury, that's still enough to finish it off. So that was obviously worse than the first time. But really, I think all that comes down to, it doesn't mean that you need power back boosts for that fight. It means that you really, really should not get parried by Nick Fury, which I don't think you needed me to tell you that. Thankfully, that didn't cause a death. Moving on to Green Goblin, he's definitely more annoying this season with Conduit, but Hype should have absolutely no problems. I am going to periodically parry heavy just to get these Furies. You don't have to. You can definitely win this fight without ever doing that, especially if you get better Incinerate luck than I have thus far. Finally, we get that heal block up. You could also play this by just dancing right at the beginning and going straight to the special 3. I'm not entirely sure what I did there. I probably thought that he was about to charge and was clearly wrong. Thankfully, our Incinerate luck is getting a little better. Didn't get any Furies off that heavy, though. Keeping the heal block up, that's really all that matters here. We don't really even have to think about strike counter because it's Hyperion. Like, the only way you mess that up is if you start doing full combos and pushing to a special 3 without thinking. So don't do that, because then Green Goblin specials would actually start hurting. I do think that this is a good placement for him for that. Accidentally parried a second time, got a second disorient without getting the stun, so that part's unfortunate, but we are just continuing to chip him down. Hyperion does have built-in energy resistance, so those beams from the special 1 are doing a bit less through block than they otherwise normally would, even with lower block penetration, or even with lower block proficiency, my bad. And unfortunately there, I did knock him down without having the heal block up, so he's going to fully regen this special 3. To play this more optimally, when I decided to go for the special 3, I probably should have waited out the debuff. Clearly I didn't do that, but at the same time, we have some Furies up, we have the Cosmic Charges, land a few more special ones, and we should be good to go here. That's all that really matters. And also make sure we don't accidentally regen. That's something that you kind of have to practice with hype a little bit if you're taking somebody like Green Goblin or anyone else with long specials. If you find yourself having to block a fair amount of time, try and get really familiar with exactly how long his dash back and hold for the regen is so you don't activate it by accident. Because, yeah, finishing at 100% would have been nice, but losing the power gain is really bad in a fight like this. And then we have one last fight, because I wasn't very helpful on Mini Island this particular war, but it's just this Kraven. And again, we're going to use Hyperion because, like I said, he just makes it so that we don't have to worry about strike counter. He's also a very good Kraven counter because the easiest way to break root is to throw a special. Hype basically always has specials, and you can disarm the traps that cause root by traveling over them with a special. That's not something that we expect Hype to do with his special 1, but his special 2 does travel a pretty good distance. Still, I would prefer not to deal with the trap at all, so we are going to go ahead and push Kraven to his special 2, as you can see here. I don't mind dashing back twice if we have to and triggering the disorient. It means that we can't parry reliably, but at the same time it's a little bit of willpower healing, and as long as we know it's there and play around it, we'll be fine. This is not a fight where we need to land parries, yet another advantage of Hype. So that special 3 was okay, not exceptional, but we are going to try and get him... Yeah, I think we're going to try and beta heavy now that the disorient is gone, because Kraven's heavy is very easy to heavy counter, as you can see there. And that was not ideal, but he did eventually throw it, pushed him to the special 2, that's what mattered, and step back into the special 1. So the end of that definitely could have been cleaner, but Hype is just an amazing counter to both the node and the champion, and that's War 5 down. Really enjoying Hulkling. Need to not get parried with him. Hype and Reed are continuing to be 2 of my favorites. This has been a fun season. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will catch you all on the next one. Until then, thanks so much for watching, and take care.